Hey, good morning, Jacques. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. I'm talking to Garth Brooks.
Entering his second year as the LSU head football coach.
It was the only way I could get a foot in the door.
Joined by the icon, Kim Mulkey. Hey, Coach, great to see you.
All right, with a college football national championship about to be played, why not speak to a guy who played in one himself, Justin Vincent. Justin, thanks for coming down.
Glad to be here.
Long time no talk. Long time since we've sat down and
yeah.
And what I love about this guy is he'll speak his mind.
Yeah.
He'll tell you like it is.
Got to. I feel like I'm doing everybody an injustice and definitely myself an injustice if I don't.
Well, during COVID, when there was nothing going on, I'm doing all this retro stuff, and because there was nothing going on, I think we made like national news. You telling stories of the week Nick Saban left LSU to
go to that, and then my issue with Coach Porter and all the other stuff. It was a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, for people who didn't see it, Nick Saban left LSU on Christmas Day of 2004.
Yep.
You go play Iowa in the was it called Capital One?
Yeah, Capital One Bowl.
Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
And you said once he announced he was leaving, it was a circus. It was a zoo. We got nothing done that week.
Everybody did what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
People were laying down on the practice field, sitting on their helmet, which was never allowed. Yeah. By the way. It was one of those things where he was just like, he could say something, but what is he going to do? You not play me? You're leaving. So.
Yeah. You told me there was guys back talking, coaches, assistants.
Oh yeah. It was. They went. I guess stuff they been holding on their chest. From day one, they let it go.
Yeah. What do you think now about watching Nick Saban on ESPN?
I love it. I love it even more when they bring Miss Terry on there.
Yeah.
It's he's a national treasure. He gets to say things that he probably wish he could have said all along. He speaks freely. Curses a lot now too.
Yeah,
which I didn't know. He had a potty mouth, but whatever.
You didn't come across that on the practice field, Justin?
Yeah, but not on TV.
Right.
Yeah. You got it all. He used to call you everything but a child of God, but at the same time, you never figured that ESPN would let that fly. But whatever.
Yeah.
So ratings is ratings.
I've noticed that. I'm like, well, he dropped another S-bomb.
Yeah. Well, they can't really say too much. They got Pat McAfee on the show, so that's what you take it how you get it, I guess.
Well, after they aired the Michael Jordan Last Dance,
oh yeah,
that thing was loaded with
it was bad
profanity.
Oh yeah, it was bad. Yeah, it was one of those things that you were just in awe. Like, they forgot to hit the bleep button, but I guess not.
This is I watched a documentary on the Jerry Springer Show. Talk about.
You know what? I scrolled right past it. I don't think I want to see it.
It was voted the worst television show of all time recently.
Yeah. What? But people watched it.
Well, that's the
there's
deal,
only there's no way somebody could last on TV that long and nobody's watching it.
Well, that was the deal. I think they said that affiliates from across the country would call us every day and they'd say, how are you sending us this smut and this terrible programming? And then the ratings would come in and they just shrug and be like, I guess we're stuck with this.
Yeah. People love chaos.
Yeah.
They can say what they want. It's controlled. It's not in their everyday life. They can kick their feet up, drink their favorite beverage, and watch, somebody lie to each other on national television. A couple fights. Big Steve over there breaking it up the whole nine.
You know what's funny? And I didn't bring Justin Vincent on to talk about the Jerry Springer Show. He was not mentioned at all in the documentary. They didn't show him. They didn't mention him. So I don't know what's going on with Big Steve. He started his own spinoff show, too.
He did. He probably wanted a check.
Maybe so.
And they nixed that. So
yeah.
He was like, well, you better not say my name.
Well, they talked about how the goal of every show was to get people to fight.
Yeah.
And physical confrontation and everything, and every single show.
That sells.
Yeah.
That sells, regardless of what people think, and it's not pretty, but people like chaos.
Well, when they first started, he was boring. He was really vanilla. It aired at 1 o'clock in the morning, and eventually, they changed their tune, and they said no one was going to catch Oprah, but they actually beat Oprah for a little while, and
he didn't give anything away.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. You get a TV. You get a TV.
No cars.
Yeah.
None of that stuff. So a national championship game's coming up, and is it hard for you to believe, or is it easy to believe that it's been over 2 decades since you and your teammates beat Oklahoma in the Superdome?
It's not hard to believe because I wake up every day, my body feeling the way it does. And, obviously getting older, you got kids, the whole nine, living the American dream. And so you kind of sit back and you realize, damn, that was a long time ago. Or like I do periodically, I'll run into different people, get introduced to people, and they're like, oh, I was in elementary, and they're like 27 years old now. So it's like, you know what I mean? So those things make you feel old.
Yeah.
And you know that was a long time ago.
When's the first time you remember, and I'm setting something up, I guess. When's the first time you remember being on the internet?
Ooh.
1999?
Yeah, we had a computer at home. I remember the AOL dial-up with the yeah. I remember all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was around that time.
Yeah, you played in an era that the internet had started to get going, but you were before the social media days.
Yes and no. I got the front end of Facebook. With that, it was just accessible to students who had a EDU email address.
This is like what year?
4.
Okay. I remember getting on there like 09, 08.
Yeah, it was because I think that's when it became available to the masses.
Gotcha.
But you had to have an EDU to begin with, a college email address to actually get on.
Yeah. Well, are you happy that when you played there wasn't Twitter? And
5,000%.
Yeah.
5,000%. Like I wouldn't have made it. And there is many of people that wouldn't have made it. Like just because you couldn't live, you couldn't be a college student. You literally couldn't go anywhere. Like you could not say anything, you couldn't do anything, which I think was a good thing. But at the same time, I think it would have helped a lot of people too, though.
There's a few guys back then that made the All Bogies team, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I was an All-American. So, and there's a few of us. I mean, so it's one of those things that you just, you're glad that you caught the front end of it and not when it was full blown. And I remember getting a phone with a camera on it. Like I remember all that.
Right.
So Nokia chirps, the Sprint chirps, like all that good stuff.
Yeah, and there are some people that say social media is the downfall of society.
Oh, it is.
One of the
But it
worst
also
things.
feeds society too. So there's people who say that are on it habitually. Like they literally cannot go without looking on it.
Correct.
So, yeah, damn if you do, damn if you don't, right?
Well, the positive is an interview like this, I can share it immediately and I can get information out to people all at once. The bad thing is that the kids that are growing up on it, there's bullying going on, and there's fear of being left out, comparing myself to somebody else, and all those things.
There's a positive thing, so when I'm on Facebook, for instance, I get on Facebook for one reason and one reason only: to look at memes, post about my kids, and that's it.
Yeah.
And connect with people that I haven't seen in a long time. I don't repost any wild articles, none of that political nonsense. It is my safe haven for me to go in there and scroll and look at funny videos. That's what my social media does for me.
Right.
And that's it. Like I think when you go down the rabbit hole and start doing all that wild stuff and talking crazy, and I try to stay clear from all that.
Yeah, if it creates stress and anxiety in your spare time, it's not something you
I got
gravitate
kids that
to.
stress me out. I don't need extra. So I'm good. I try to find the fun in it,
Well, speaking of fun, I guess we'll talk a few memories, and then we'll bring people to the present with what you're doing now. So 2003, it's Nick Saban's. Let's see, he was here 0, 1, 2. That was his 4th year, and inheriting some talented players from Jerry DiNardo that were left over, but then adding his own, including you. You didn't play pretty much the first half of 2003.
Correct.
Even the first Georgia game, they had the big Georgia rematch.
Yeah. I just played special teams. That was it.
You didn't get a carry.
I had a tackle or two. Orlando Gary was a punt returner for them. I had a open field tackle on the field, almost made him fumble, and that was about it.
Yeah. So it was the South Carolina game you guys got
my first start.
Unleashed?
Yep.
You and Allie?
Me and Allie Broussard.
Yep.
Barrington Edwards got a little bit burned too. Yeah, we had all the freshman backs were playing.
Real quick, Barrington Edwards, part of one of my first Channel 9 stories. So I'm doing a live shot at Alec Box, and I had kind of heard that he was leaving. It was like in spring. And I was at the end of a diving board, and I just decided to jump. and I've learned that Barrington Edwards is leaving the team. He's transferring. Just kind of almost like, can I get away with this?
Yeah.
It got back to Saban.
Oh, yeah.
And Edwards was still at practice. He hadn't left the team. So I heard the stories like he was walking out like, oh, I'm still here. I don't know what the deal is. But then like 2 or 3 days later, he left. Yeah. And so the guys at the Advocate, they started calling me Early Doucette because I'd put it out before he had left, but something was right.
It was brewing. Yeah, he left.
Yeah. But you had Joe Adai, too, on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Chiron Carey. Boy, the foot in the ground against Georgia. Yeah. Not many people could do that.
Yeah, he has one of those, what we would call in the football world, a dead leg. Like, so when you give somebody the dead leg, he was a master at that. Like, he would put his foot in the ground, like, stop on a dime. You know, between him, Skylar Green, and the player that never was here, he was the player, played at another school, made All-American, went to the NFL. They were the best high school highlight tapes I've ever seen in my life.
Who's the second one you're referring to? The guy that never played here?
I could think of his name the other week. Lavelle, the receiver from Cali.
Okay.
He ended up transferring. He got signed in the same class as Early Doucette.
Okay. Oh, God. Not Amp Hill.
No. Amp was hurt. Not Amp. Golly, Hawkins.
Okay.
Lavelle Hawkins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was one of those, how did he do that type player. Every play on his highlight tape was catch here, stopping on a dime, running past people, spinning.
Yeah.
Like, you just couldn't get a hand on him.
Yeah. Allie Broussard, if he doesn't get hurt, you think he's NFL guy?
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Allie just texted me a few minutes ago.
You told him what you were doing?
No, I didn't tell him. I didn't actually tell him anything.
You guys talking jock. All right.
He was actually just asking me about, getting him in the Tiger Stadium, and I told him I'll see what I can do.
I got you. So tell me about just how do you come out of nowhere that year as a player and become the leading rusher on the team?
What the world saw was a freshman that did not like to get hit. So what I did was obviously God-given ability and my parents and work and not liking contact. So I was basically running for my life. And so those things I was always taught when I was young to minimize the contact. So I was like, at certain points I'm fast enough to outrun it, but at sometimes I'm going to have to put my foot in the ground and make a person miss and all that good stuff. So I tried to leverage that into less impacts on my body.
I think Reggie Bush said the same thing. I was running scared.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Both
it's like the ultimate game of tag. Like, you're literally trying to run for your life.
Yeah. Well, Emmitt Smith said years back every tackle was like a 20-mile-an-hour car wreck.
Oh, yeah.
On your body.
When you get thumped, one of those guys, squares you up and you're playing a really good player, you feel it. Like, it's one of those, is this really for me type hits? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is this really what I want to do every weekend?
Yeah.
So, it was a scared freshman run.
Well, Kyle Williams told me that same line. Do I really want to do this? He said Broussard Hall, no matter what, in August, the thermostat didn't drop below like 88 degrees.
Oh, yeah. You were sleeping naked. 100%. You were sleeping naked. It was just, and I was so thankful that I only had one camp in there, and then West Campus apartment was built after that.
Got you.
So we went in as soon as camp was out. We got the first ones to move in.
So you're the pioneers of WCA.
WCA.
Huh? The SEC championship game when you run for 201, right?
Yeah.
There's an early, maybe a second possession.
Second possession. Yeah.
Run off the right side. Is it 75, 80?
Horn boss.
Yeah.
It was one of those plays that was unique to the football world because it's your normal toss play if you're just looking at football in general. But Jimbo kind of engineered, because normally you would pull a guard. Jimbo pulled the center. And so Ben was the first person out there. It was David Jones, then Ben.
Big Ben.
Yeah. So, horn boss.
Ben Wilkerson. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest human beings you'll ever meet. Coaching in the NFL. Coaching. Jets, right?
Jets, with the Jets.
Currently.
Yep.
There was the guy that broke your record, but he took like twice as many carries to do it, right? In
so
the SEC championship.
My claim to fame, I got invited the last year. the Georgia Dome was open. So I think it was Alabama and Florida, and Alabama ended up throttling them like it was like McElwain. They ended up beating them by like 40, some wild score like that. So all the legends / MVPs got inducted, and it was a whole weekend. They paid for everything. It was awesome. And I got a chance to go out there, and I got to see Nick before the game, and got to see Miss Terry and the whole nine. And that was the game that I think a couple years after that, when Trey Mason for Auburn, they were playing Missouri, which they shouldn't have been there. I don't know how they ended up getting in there. And like
the East was bad for
their second year into the conference, and he had like 34, 35 carries for like 3-something. I had 17. So put that in perspective.
It was like Josh Reed numbers, 17 for 201.
Yeah, I was like, what is that? So, but I still have the longest run in SEC championship game history.
Yeah.
That holds 85.
Yeah, good guys blocking for you up front. We're talking about Wilkerson.
Oh, Wilkerson, Rodney
Whitworth,
Reed, Witt, Terrell McGill, Nate Livings. We had the Goon Squad.
Yeah, I was thinking about it too. Today, you'd have to do a lot more work to be a national champion, right? Like two teams played, and it took a while to get them to agree to that this is a national championship, the BCS thing or whatever. So now you'd have to play 2 extra games, I guess.
2 extra games, which I think everybody would be up for, more football. But, looking at where we are today, it is almost the 18th.
Yeah, the 20th is the game Monday.
The 20th is the game, and
you played yours on the 4th, I think.
Yeah, and then the Super Bowl is next month.
Yeah.
That's a lot of football.
Right. Well, you think they're just doing what the NFL does? We're going to stretch this thing out as long as we can. That's more money. It's more games.
Well, if they were smart, they would make it actually bigger. You think about it like this, and this is just my opinion. If high school can get it right, Division I AA can get it right, why can't we get it right?
Okay.
It took this long.
The counterpoint to that is, of all the playoff games you've watched so far, how many have been good? Because the first round was a bunch of
semifinals.
duds.
That's it.
Yeah.
Semifinals. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you now I say that, but SMU put up a good fight.
I think there were 2 or 3 good games so far.
Yeah, and then they got walked at the end, but those things happen, right?
Yeah.
Should Boise State have got a bye? Absolutely not. Should Arizona State have got a bye? Maybe. You don't know, but putting those people in, like, you hear the Alabama fans moan and groan, but you lost 3 games.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, you lost to us. Like, I mean, come on now. Like, let's be realistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you want to get in, and so does everybody else. But at the same time, you can't lose those games and then cry on the outside looking in. Like, you got to win those games to leave all doubt out. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
they did.
Well, in 2003, are you still upset you lost to Florida?
Yeah, I would love to have an undefeated season.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of talking with your mouth full a little bit.
Yeah. I would love to have an undefeated season, but we beat who we were supposed to beat.
Yeah. Well,
that
was the margin for error back then, is one loss.
Oh, yeah. 1 loss. That's it. And, that's like with Jacob's team, like Matt Flynn, 2 lost teams, that'll never happen again.
Right.
It just depends, right? Somebody may get lucky. They may feel a certain type of way what they saw this year with, the performance that, Boise put up or Arizona State or whoever. They may not do that anymore. They may try to find a way to slip in a 2-loss, LSU team or a 2-loss Bama or Ole Miss, whoever.
We had some 3-loss teams get in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They'll find a way.
Right.
But you're not going to give those folks buys anymore. They can't.
Yeah.
They got to play.
Yeah. What do you remember about the national championship game against Oklahoma? I'll just tell you real quick, I remember at Superdome, they put us in, I think they called it the auxiliary press box. It was not up high, it was lower, and if the ball was punted, we couldn't see it because there was this overhang that came. But I just remember left to right, first play of the game, was it 65, 70 yards you ran?
I promise you know better than I do.
Got tackled at the
They're going to tackle like at the 5, I think, maybe.
And-
Something like 10, 5, something like that.
And then y'all fumbled and didn't score at all.
Matt Flynn and Ben. I mean, not Matt Flynn. Matt Malkin and Ben.
There was a fumble. Oh,
It's
my
changed.
God.
Ben
This
was
kid-
pulling. We were running horn boss again. And Matt didn't ride Ben. Like he was supposed to ride him out, and he kind of tried to take it, and the ball hit the ground. But we ended up getting the ball back on his next play. So Corey caught an interception.
And you won the game.
We won the game. At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Right, but at the time you think, oh my God, national championship game. The margin for error is this much. You don't score on that first.
But I mean, if you go back and watch the game, and you would think that we beat them by 20, just because they rarely moved the ball.
Right.
We had some mistakes that we had some pass interference calls. They ended up getting the ball down the field a little bit, and then Mark Clayton, who was a phenomenal player, he was back there, catching everything they threw his way. And so
the score is the score, but it was the most dominant 21-14.
100%
game you'll ever see.
100%. That defense of ours, between Spears and Marquise and Lionel and Corey and Travis and LaRon and Jack, they went to work.
Yeah.
They went to work. Chad Lavallee, they went to work.
Yeah.
Kyle, everybody did their part.
It was nerve-wracking because Oklahoma did have the ball late, and they were throwing balls into the end zone.
Yeah.
That got knocked away and broken
Randall
up.
Gay. Randall Gay knocked it away.
Yeah, knocked it away there at the end. And I have just a few stats here from that 03 team. So the 03 team gave up a total of 154 points, 11 points a game. Teams ran for 2.3 yards per carry. I used to always joke that was my college grade point average. It was about 2.3. Passing, you guys intercepted 21 passes that year, and they passed for 185 to the opposition. So I guess you could have discussions, different eras of football. The 2011 LSU team that played in the national championship and didn't win, that defense was really salty. But the 03 defense was
unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like if you put, just stats-wise, let's not talk about players. We're talking about college. We're not talking about the guys who went to the NFL. We're talking about in college. I would take the 03 defense over all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then you can't even talk about like 1958.
No.
Like the Billy Cannon era, and that Chinese Bandits and all that. That was great, but
everybody was knee-high to a grasshopper. The offensive lineman weighed 200 pounds. That could never happen again.
Right. Yeah, Billy Cannon was considered just huge.
Yeah.
He was 210.
Yeah. So you that era, as far as that goes, you can't even compare. But they won, right? And you go and look. I wouldn't take my offensive line over the other offensive line either.
Right.
What they were able to accomplish, and what was Stephen Peterman. I almost forgot about him. God, if he watches this, he's gonna kill me. But no, Stephen Peterman. You look at somebody like that who had a 10-year NFL career, and Witt, and look at Rodney, and Terrell, and Ben, and Ben doesn't get hurt. Ben's a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Well,
then in 2019, the offenses have evolved so much that giving up 25 points to Clemson was a great job.
Yeah. It's a win. That is at a team who throws the ball sporadically like they did to T. Higgins and ran it really good with Travis. Holding them to 25 points that's a blessing.
Yeah. A lot of great Nick Saban stories about after you won the game. I've heard the story about him chewing out Sam Nader in the locker room 15 minutes after y'all win.
Yeah, Coach Nader always, stand the test of time. I actually just got an email from Coach Nader yesterday.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing guy.
Yeah.
But just to prove how relentless, and I don't want to use the word psychotic, but Saban was, that he was we're behind on our recruiting. We've got to hit the road in the morning. You can see these guys. And the guy, did we just win the national championship? Can't you chill out for 15 minutes?
Yeah, take a day off. But that's the thing that nobody ever really talks about. That's why he is who he is. That's why he's going in the College Football Hall of Fame. That's Nick Saban. That's why he came from a small town in West Virginia, the son of a gas station owner, little fiery stick that knows football, right? That's why he is who he is.
Right. Well, and the stories of his dad, if you shine the car and you miss one spot, you do the whole thing over again. And
so you learn to be meticulous and very, pertinent in what you're doing as far as getting the job done. one thing I've learned, you know, once I got older, how Nick operates. Everything that he does it every day. Like he changes if something like drastic happens, like he has to make adjustments to his schedule, but he's a creature of habit. Mm-hmm. Like that makes him, you know, be full Nick Saban, right? Full Nick Saban mode, right? Where he can, you know, eat his little Debbie cakes and drink his coffee, to going in there at a certain time and kicking his feet up and wearing his moccasins with no socks and all this stuff and playing basketball and going hit the golf ball when he wants to, because he has it mapped out of how he gets the job done.
Right.
Right? You know, he doesn't fly by the seat of his pants hoping something's going to fall in his lap and it's going to go right. He's going to make sure it goes right.
Creature of habit, but also adapted with the times. Smart enough to bring along Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, he moaned and groaned about the no-huddle offense, and then what did you go do? You went and hired the no-huddle king. So you learn to adapt with times. It's one thing my dad told me years ago. He's like, son, if you don't learn how to adapt, you will die off like the dinosaurs. Like, you have to learn how to adapt, whether it's on the fly or not. You got to learn how to adjust to your environment, or you won't be successful.
You get hit by an asteroid.
No question.
Now's a good time as any to ask you, if Nick Saban doesn't leave LSU, is it the dynasty that it was at Alabama?
1,000%. Not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Not a doubt in my mind. Because we all know this, and everybody, whether they're watching, and you definitely know because you've been around here long enough, nobody wants to go to Tuscaloosa. They go to Tuscaloosa for one thing and one thing only: Nick Saban. That's it. And I'm not saying this place is a destination. I'm not saying Baton Rouge is a destination at all. But we are close to things. You're 45 minutes from New Orleans. You're an hour from Lafayette. You're 2 hours from Lake Charles. You're 4 hours from Houston. Like, you can make things happen, right? You can get on a plane. You don't have to drive an hour to Birmingham to get on a flight. Like, we can actually get things done here, right? People, kids, went to Tuscaloosa for one thing and one thing only. If he stays here, Alabama would still be fighting an uphill battle. Mm-hmm. You know, from Dennis Franchione to Shula, you know, Mike Price, you know, they would literally be, you know, walking backwards.
Yeah. Well, the power of college football. I remember going over to cover one of those LSU Alabama games in Tuscaloosa and staying in about as bottom of a rung hotel one year and we paid $350, $400 a night just because it's Alabama football. Get that same hotel on Monday for $59 or something.
that's what it is. And Alabama, well, Tuscaloosa in general now, that's why that place looks the way it looks. Mm-hmm. You know, they're like, you know, Texas A&M of the East.
Yeah.
Like, you go to Texas A&M for Texas A&M and Texas A&M only. Like, you go just for the cows. You go for the oil. You go because you grew up that way. You could sell Texas A&M to Justin Vincent. You're not selling Texas A&M to Dade County. Like, you're not.
Right.
Right.
So. Well, and I read a New York Times article years back, and they talked about when Nick Saban got to Alabama to the present over the decades or whatever, how the enrollment of the school had surged up, the average salary in the city, the sponsorships, the everything. And you could argue no matter how much they paid him, he was probably underpaid.
Oh, 100%. That's just like, you know, Cleveland with LeBron. That's like Boulder with Deion. It's the same economic impact, whether they win or they don't. But if they win, they make lives better. You know, the rejuvenation of mom and pop shops, the things selling out. You know, hotel rooms, they can charge you $345 to stay in Boulder, right? So those things help everybody.
Yeah, because I look at like the 2005 roster, and you know, Whitworth said something to me the other day, and you know, he said it wasn't a knock on Les Miles. It was just, he said, we didn't win because of Les Miles. We won because of Nick Saban, because of the culture that was established and everything.
Yeah, 100%.
In 05 and all that, and so 05 you've got what? Chiron Carey, Craig Buster Davis, Jamarcus Russell, Skylar Green. I'm just going to name a few. Allie Highsmith, Ronnie Prude, Early Doucette, Joseph Adai, Ryan Perilou, Jimmy Welker on that team.
Jimmy Welker.
Matt Flynn, Craig Steltz, Benny and the Jets, Benny Brazil, Jacob Hester, Jonathan Zenon, Chevis Jackson. I remember one press box, they kept calling him Chivas the whole game. Yeah. We were laughing. Chevis Jackson, Ali Broussard, Justin Vincent, that guy. Just down the line, Curtis Taylor, LaRon Landry, Luke Sanders, pretty good linebacker. Patrick Fisher, the punter. Let's see, Chris Jackson, not the basketball player, but the kicker. There's a lot of good ones here coming up. Harry Coleman, Quinn Johnson, Cameron Vaughn, Derry Beckwith, Kirsten Pittman, Josh DeSherry, Rudy Nicewinger. Big Rudy. Saron Black, guy named Glenn Dorsey. Pretty good defensive lineman. Andrew Whitworth.
You naming every Nick Saban recruit.
Peter Diakowski, better than all of them. My man Peter.
Oh, Canadian. Drove his Trans Am from Canada to Baton Rouge.
That's right. One of the more interesting football players in LSU history.
Yeah, he's something else now. He's running for like Parliament. He did in Canada. He got rid of the mullet. I saw him for the reunion. Looks good. Has a family, married, got kids.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I interviewed him a few years back. He was also on a game show. I think it was called Canada's Most Intelligent Person or something.
He was.
He's like, my wife doesn't think I'm the most intelligent in the house, much less in the country.
Yeah, he's something else, man.
But he told me about the mullet. He said that Saban was furious because he thought it was hazing. Like they hazed him and they made him, and he goes, "Oh no, he wants his hair that way."
That's Peter, man.
Saban was pretty upset. Dwayne Bowe, let's see, Ricky Jean-Francois, Brandon LaFell, Tyson Jackson, Chase Pittman, and let's finish with Kyle Williams, Claude Roten, Marlon Favorite. Those are just a few. So that's 05 team, and then Katrina and Rita kind of screwed y'all up.
Yeah, 11. We go 11-1, 11-1. You take away
11-2.
11-2, sorry. 11-2, 2 years back to back. You take away.
But only one loss in the regular season in 05.
You take away one of those losses, right? Obviously in, what is it, 5 when we played
Tennessee at home,
Georgia, and lost the SEC championship game. You take that loss away and we say we beat them, we might be in the conversation.
Right.
That Tennessee loss at home where we're up 21-0 at halftime and then lose, 28-21 in overtime. I'll never. That game will never sit easy with me.
Well, from what I heard, it was you guys, your strength and conditioning was all screwed up because of the hurricanes and stuff.
If you, God forbid, nobody wants to watch that again because we lost. But if you ever come across that game again, when the first half of the game, ran the ball, threw the ball, doing everything. Second half, Les wanted to run the ball. That's it. And so we run, punt, they score. Run, punt, they score. Run, punt, they score. Next thing you know, we're going to overtime. And we lose.
To Clausen.
Yeah. And Gerald Riggs.
He scored the game winner.
Yeah, Gerald Riggs Jr. Yeah, so, that was, the beginning and the end for me. That was a little headset by Les and the whole nine. I was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah. The
arguing between coaches and, it was different back then.
Yeah. I heard stories about Les and Pelini in that game particularly.
Yeah.
Les taking over the defense and Pelini not wanting to run this. And it was his first home game, Les Miles. And I remember getting home and I told my mom and dad, I said, I think LSU just hired a turkey. And he persevered.
Yeah,
he hung around a long time and won a lot of games.
He did. He's the longest. He's also the longest tenured coach in LSU history too. So that goes hand in hand, right? You hear long enough. Hopefully, you win a lot of games, and you're the winningest coach in LSU history.
I think Charlie Mack went longer, but that's way back, 70s, 60s, 70s. I think he was 17 years or something. But Les was 11.
11, yeah.
In the middle of 2005, 16, he was pushed out.
Yeah.
4 games in, so he was here a long time.
Yeah.
And you play more games than you used to, so there's more opportunities.
This is true. This is true.
For years, there were no 10-win teams at LSU. Not many.
No.
That one extra game makes a big difference to win an extra game.
And that's the thing. I was telling somebody not too long ago, I said, the average LSU fan that indulges in all sports, not just football. But whenever one of those teams at LSU wins, people get that taste in their mouth. Like that tastes good, right? So when you've been to the promised land, right? You've seen it. You know it can happen. You want it every year. And the way the world works, that can't happen, right? You know what I mean? That's just the way the world works. It can't happen, especially this day and age now when you include NIL and the whole nine. It can't, right? Teams like Miami, like back in the 90s, everybody wanted to go to Miami. Everybody wanted to go to Nebraska. Everybody wanted to go to Tennessee. Now, that changed. People come to LSU. They're going to Alabama.
You can't, and you couldn't leave.
Yeah,
if you left, you were in a one-year purgatory.
Yeah, you got to sit out.
Yeah.
Now you can take people's money and leave. So it's like
your depth is shot.
Yeah. So now everybody has a chance.
Right.
Everybody has a legitimate chance, right? If you get the right players, the right play callers, you have a legitimate shot of making it.
Well, I was talking to Clyde Edwards-Helaire yesterday. I was only missing you in the picture because I took a picture.
I was supposed to stop by, but I'm also using this opportunity to blame Greg Stringfellow for not letting me know. I heard yesterday that this was happening because of Coach Frank. Coach Frank told me because I called him because he passed in front of me. He's like, "Hey, are you going by Elite for the grand opening deal?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't know anything about it." I had to go to a baseball banquet last night, so it kind of worked out, but I had no clue.
First pitch banquet for
baseball.
Jay Johnson and Yeah, well, so I'm like, I got to take a picture because I got Jacob Hester there, who's leading rusher in 07, national championship team. Clyde, obviously, 19. Kevin Falk could have been the leading rusher on any national championship team, maybe.
Yep.
Definitely he's got the most yards in LSU history still. And so all I need was Justin Vincent there, leading rusher 03. Billy Cannon, of course, has passed.
Yeah.
Took my pictures with him over the years, but
I did, like I said, I didn't know, and Greg, I'm gonna get you.
Greg's got a lot on his mind these days.
Yeah.
Awesome facility, by the way. Go check it out. But was the 2019 the last kind of team of its time because of NIL, transfer portal, and all that? Could you try to even did you have enough money to put together Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Patrick Queen, all these guys that got, Stingley as a freshman, he's all pro now in the league.
No.
Yeah.
No, you can't. That's them days are gone.
Right.
Unfortunately. You're gonna have kids who grew up, whether it's LSU, Alabama, you're gonna have kids who that's their dream school. And they're really good players and you're gonna get them. And they're gonna stay and they're gonna walk out on senior night with their parents and they'll be happy. And then you'll have the ones who are chasing a buck. Whenever I had an opportunity to talk to the freshmen when NIL were first coming in, I go, listen, at the end of the day, this is an opportunity for you to make, obviously, some money. But at the same time, you also got to realize that your favorite player didn't have NIL, and they're just fine. You can make it work if you want to make it work.
Yeah.
That's on you, right? But for me to say that I'm not going to LSU because they didn't want to give me $600,000, that's wild. That's wild to me.
Well, you graduated, right?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, but that's wild.
But I'm just saying,
even that having that come out of somebody's mouth, like to me, even though I'm all for it, right? I think that everything would, if you would minimize the portal back to where it used to be, back to where if a head coach got fired, a kid graduated, or the head coach left to take another job, you could leave and not have to sit out.
Right.
But if you want to leave LSU, go to Alabama, you got to sit out a year. Yeah. If not, you go to McNeese, Nichols, wherever, you can play right away. But you've got to sit out. You can't do that.
Yeah, but that's what kind of irritates me sometimes. They bring up Burrow. He was in the portal. No, he wasn't.
He graduated.
He graduated. Then he went because he earned that. You used to have to earn that kind of thing.
Yeah, he graduated.
Couldn't just bounce to bounce.
Yeah, so he didn't have to, even if it was back in those times, he wouldn't have had to sit out anyway because he graduated.
It makes things weird, like on your senior day.
Yeah.
Justin Vincent runs out of the tunnel. You're going to get a standing ovation. There's the leading rusher on our national championship team. Here's a guy who's played 4 years.
Yeah.
Had injuries.
Yeah.
Now we got senior days with guys who've been here 3 months,
Yeah.
They showed up in June and now they're gone.
That's just it's a crazy world we live in, but what are you going to do, right? You got to take your licks and keep on going, hope for the best, hope your team wins. Hope everybody stays healthy, you just want success, right? It's like I was saying, our fans have tasted it.
Yeah.
They know it can happen. So the expectations are always going to be high. It doesn't matter if Bobo the Clown's the head coach. They got a taste of the good life. They want that now. So whoever you are, you got to try to fight tooth and nail, whether you're Coach Kelly, whether you're Jay, whether you're Kim, you have got to fight now. You've got to try.
Yeah. Well, my good friend Buddy Sanji in the local media, he always have a saying: after you've had filet mignon, you don't want to go back to red beans and rice.
No, you've been to Ruth Chris. Nobody wants to go back to Piccadilly.
I love it. I love it. But I mean, think about how spoiled we got in 5 years, or 5 months, when women's basketball wins a national title and Jay follows it up. I joke with Jay. I said that's a local sportscaster's career. Some people covering 2 national champs. It happened, 3 or 4 months there. And then, the 5 years ago isn't that long ago. National championship in football, and track and field's done well. Gymnastics wins a national title. So a lot has happened around here, and it's just kind of like a drug. Give me more.
It is. I mean, like I said, you taste a good life, man. It's hard to take a 10-win season and not people get. Listen, I'm on the front end of most of those phone calls for what I do for a living. So people get upset, right? So I know. And listen, I'm like, it's not from a lack of effort. I can tell you that. It's just sometimes it's where the chips fall. Yeah, can things be better? 1,000%. But it is what it is.
Well, and I'd see students that work at Tiger TV and everything, and their freshman year was 2019, and I said, I feel great for you on one hand. I feel bad for you because this is not reality all the time. This was like a once in a lifetime.
Undefeated team,
Heisman winner, everything. Every
and
national award you could win.
Everybody won something, right?
Yeah. Your assistant coach of the year, your coach of the year.
Yeah. It was
Bolitnikov.
It's a lot going on. It's a lot. It was the LSU award show. That's what it was.
Yeah, I went to the award show in Atlanta, the ESPN College Football Awards. It was like every single thing. Like Grant Delpit, no offense. He didn't have an amazing year. He won the
Thorpe.
Yeah, the Thorpe defensive back.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time. I'll let you go here in a second. So in today's, what you're doing now, you work at TAF.
Correct.
So tell me, what role are you playing in LSU football?
I'm a fundraiser in all aspects, right? So it's not just football, but it's all sports. The best part about my job, and I tell this to anybody who listens whenever they ask me, I said, it's not like I'm selling vacuums, right? I'm not like I'm selling the new Dyson 2500 that I got to show you all the new gadgets and what it could do, self-propelled and all this. LSU sold already. I don't have to do none of that. I just got to figure out what it is that you like at LSU. Is it gymnastics? Is it swimming and diving? Is it football? Is it baseball? And we have an opportunity for you to join at certain given levels to make the experience for our college student athletes better, whether it's academically, you want to do a scholarship, or athletically, you want to help facilities. And now NIL's kind of fell on the umbrella too, so you can do NIL too. So it's so many, and you get the points to help you get better parking and better tickets and all that stuff. And we still have the lifetime ranking points. That means when we get away games, like those one-off games at the beginning of the year or a bowl game, you get an opportunity to get tickets. Your better points get you a better opportunity to get early pick tickets to get to the game. So it's one of those things that I take seriously, because this place means so much to me and it's done a lot for me. And so I try my best to do as much as I can to help the next Joe Burrow, the next Jaden Daniels, the next swimming and diving, whatever it is. I just want their experience to be as grand as they imagined it would be.
It seems like LSU's in a much better place with that NIL than they were a year ago.
Yeah. Obviously with time everything gets better if you take it serious and you're doing things right and you're putting the right people in place. And as far as leadership goes, that understand what's going on. Scott understands, my boss understands, Matt Borman. Everybody has their hands in, right? And they know that we've got to make this work. Yeah, everybody's going to moan and groan about certain things. Some people believe that the kids shouldn't be getting paid, but it's beyond that now. None of that matters. They're getting paid, right? People used to scream all the time. They used to scream, it's amateurism. It's not amateurism if the head coach is making $100 million. Like, you can say what you want, but let's be serious now. So with the revenue sharing coming up, in Title IX, and they're gonna have to get their cut too. So it's gonna be beneficial for our fans to get engaged and have an opportunity to, if you join the Oaks at LSU at a certain given level, you get to fly on the team plane, you get to come to the games, I get to take you to dinner. There's so many benefits that we give that I think that people, I don't want to say take for granted or they don't really know yet. I would suggest for them to call and figure it out. Go online, the benefits chart's there. They can see what they can get for the bang for their buck. And they get to make, the decision where their money goes. We don't make it for you. They do it.
Gotcha. A lot of people on the sidelines before the game, too.
100%. And it's not just us. It's everybody.
And I'm not complaining. It's not like I'm not saying, it's the media sideline. I'm not saying that. No, but it's got more and more packed down there. I'm like, well, these people are.
Well, we're in a certain section. So our section is small. But, everybody else gets sideline passes, too. So, but, you got to be at a certain given level to get on the sideline with us. So those things,
to hear the band play, da da da,
to do the
be
Tiger
down
walk,
there,
the whole nine, so it's super beneficial to those who want to see this play succeed.
Yeah. Anything else I should ask you about? Caden Durham, the freshman, led the team in rushing as a freshman. I've heard that before. So
yeah, he's he can do it all. He's a Swiss Army knife. I think, obviously he's small in stature, but so is Kevin Falk, right? And Kevin's still the leading rusher today. I think he brings a lot to the table. Obviously, we know he can run the ball. He can catch the ball in the backfield. Pass pro. Like I said, he's a Swiss Army knife. He brings a lot to the game. I'm excited to see, Caleb Jackson in more of a dominant role this coming year. Harlan Berry, JT Lindsey. Like, there's some guys who got an opportunity to carry the ball and make this thing pop, and hopefully we can give Nuss a break and do some play action and have everything going in the right direction.
Well, and Bryce Underwood was a disappointment, but can you argue that getting Garrett Nussmeier back this year is much more important than
100%
Bryce Underwood as a freshman next year?
Yeah, I would totally agree. You get somebody who's seasoned, and I'm not just saying that because he's a Lake Charles guy, right? But no, you get somebody who's been down that road, knows what's expected of him, has stood in that battlefield. He understands, what it means to play in that stadium and those lights. Experience. That's all you want from that position anyway, whether they're a transfer or whether they're a guy who was here from day one. You want somebody who can go out there and the lights are not too bright. They can be composed and get the job done and get everybody in the right position.
All right, national championship game. I don't think it's good for Notre Dame to win this thing on Monday. We'll be hearing.
I don't either, but I don't want to see Ohio State win either. So we both in the same boat. Like, I don't like.
We got the less of the two evils. Is that what we got here?
And so in that case, I'm going for Jaden Osbury and Clark.
All right.
Yeah. So
there you go. What's your disdain for Ohio State?
I don't know.
The Ohio State University?
No, not really. I'm not going to say that because I got some friends that went there, but they know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like.
Got you. I haven't really felt a whole lot of Ohio State hate down here. Certainly Alabama.
And then listen, I'm saying this. There is no hate. I just would rather see Notre Dame win.
Jaden and
I know Marcus Freeman. Like, I would like to see him win.
Yeah.
But I also want to see the kids that I've coached in Tiger Ball at LSU camp win too. So
good deal, Justin Vincent. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks to Chuck Pierce punching the buttons here on Jock Talk. Have yourself a good one. Tell people about this conversation. Share and like. That's what I'm supposed to say, right? Share and like this content.
Share and like it.
Take care. We'll see you later.